This video is sponsored by Lenovo IdeaPad. Here we can observe a wild hominid specimen, the college student before freshman year. She is engaging in a behavior commonly known as packing way too much stuff for her tiny dorm and wasting money on random things at Target after moving in. We will learn in today's video that she made the wrong move, but you don't have to. Hey guys, today I'm going to be telling you all about the things you need and don't need for your college experience, mostly specific to dorm rooms, although I'm sure a lot of this can apply if you're moving into an apartment as well. And of course, this is just based on my own personal experience. You might end up disagreeing with what I say here, and that's something you'll have to discover through your own personal experience. But hopefully by sharing what I've learned, I can help save you some time and hassle and money. Before we get into like the specific items, one general rule to keep in mind is don't bring anything that's just an accessory to an aspirational lifestyle. Like we know, we all want to aspire to be the kind of person who's reading a classic book while eating a smoothie acai bowl after doing yoga at 5 o'clock in the morning. There's nothing wrong with wanting this, like wanting to improve yourself. College feels like a great time to turn over a new leaf, but even by, turning over a new leaf, you aren't going to change into an entirely different person who's suddenly able to reach every goal you've ever aspired to. In fact, you'll probably be more stressed and busy than you've ever been in your life. So I don't mean to like poo-poo on your dream vibes, but realistically, how much of it are you really going to accomplish in your first semester of college? Just a general rule to think about, but now let's get started with the actual listicle of items that you're probably here to hear about. The first thing I definitely regret bringing is an entire set of reusable dishware. I admire my efforts to be environmentally friendly, but it simply takes too much effort to wash them. And at a certain point I decided, instead of living in absolute filth and just not washing my eating utensils, I would just buy some disposable but compostable stuff, because UCLA does have composting resources, so that has been very helpful. But overall, I just wouldn't recommend bringing these unless washing dishes is your favorite pastime, especially if you have a communal bathroom. A food thing that I would recommend though is a Brita filter pitcher, because water is essential for life and this is significantly cheaper than buying bottled water. Back to the don'ts, I don't recommend bringing most kitchen appliances. Unless you already use it pretty much every day at home, your life is not going to change so drastically while you're at college that you're gonna need like a $50 blender or crock pot thing. And even if you use it daily at home, the dining hall is probably going to end up replacing a lot of that, because I got a microwave. I never used it because I eat pretty much all of my hot food from the dining halls. All of my snacks are room temperature. So yeah, just avoid getting those cooking appliances until you get there and then decide whether you need them. The one exception to this though is a hot water heater boiler pitcher thing. I asked a bunch of my friends on my personal Instagram about things they ended up needing, and hot water heater came up a lot, so I don't think it's just a me thing. Having hot water easily available, especially when the dining halls aren't open, is essential for making ramen, coffee, and tea, which are the staples of pretty much any college student's diet, so would recommend. Switching gears now, let's talk about academic stuff, and the one thing, if you take anything away from this video, is do not buy your textbooks at home or something and then bring them to your college dorm. In fact, probably don't buy your textbooks before the first week of class ever. Chances are at least half of them, if not all of them, are going to be completely unnecessary purchases because the professor will upload the PDF online, or you can find a PDF for free online, or it's just a supplement to the lectures and not actually needed. Also, if you have a tablet or e-reader, I highly recommend getting an ebook version instead of the printed version. It's so much easier to annotate on a digital version, and it's a lot more portable for studying around campus or at libraries or at cafes. Speaking of portability and not wasting space, another thing you definitely don't need is an entire desktop monitor setup thing. Unless you're a professional gamer or digital artist, making your full-time income off of this, it really isn't necessary. I mean, heck, I'm technically making my full-time income off of YouTube and I still don't find that an entire desktop monitor is necessary. Instead, the thing that is perhaps the most essential in college is a laptop. Especially with online school these days, being able to access the internet and, take your classes is absolutely essential, and the laptop, I find, is the best tool for doing this. Clearly, it's a lot more useful for taking notes in class or going around campus to do work. And speaking of laptops, let's take a quick break for a word from today's sponsor, Lenovo IdeaPad. What I'm showing you here is the Lenovo IdeaPad Slim, which is a pretty fantastic all-around tool for students. To the point of portability, it's got a fantastic battery life. It can last for up to 15 hours, which is definitely going to be enough for a full day of classes and doing work in between. It's got an intelligent cooling mode, which has been co-engineered with Intel, helping to preserve the battery life throughout long days away from your charging station. Additionally, it's got a 14-inch screen, great for those of you who just want less eye strain on a bigger screen, but it still maintains a pretty small, slim profile, easy to fit in a bag or backpack because it has such thin bezels around the screen. Overall, this slim, compact design is great for taking around campus and looking pretty in your dorm room. But we can't only judge a book by its cover, let's also take a look at the fantastic features inside of this attractive and portable packaging. This laptop would be fantastically capable of pretty much anything you might need. It's got a 10th generation Intel Core i7 processor, and the latest Intel Iris graphics. The 14-inch screen displays in full HD with 300 nits of brightness. Additionally, it's got a Dolby Atmos speaker system, which uses this fancy, cool surround height virtualizer technology to create 3D audio. For my fellow media-involved students, it's got a fantastic screen for editing photos and videos. If you like to game in your free time, processor and screen works great for that. And something we probably all do, watching movies or TV or social media videos on your laptop. It's great for that too, and it does all this without compromising battery life, so if this sounds like a good fit for you, visit the link in the description. Thank you, sponsor, for funding my channel and college education, and let's get on to more things you may or may not need for your dorm room. Speaking of laptops, I highly recommend a laptop stand. Just elevating your laptop by a couple of inches really helps reduce the neck strain of looking down at it, and lifting it up helps it keep cool, keeps the air circulation going around the bottom. And our last, school technology related thing, you don't need a printer in my opinion. I know this is a subject of major controversy on college advice videos. My university, and I'm pretty sure most universities, have either very cheap or completely free printing resources available around the entire campus. I think the common thing I've heard people say is oh, you don't want to leave your dorm room in the middle of the night once you've finished your essay at 2 a.m. And fair enough. I just don't feel like that's a good reason, because at UCLA, the printers are in the lobby / common area of most of the dorm buildings, and they're open 24/7. So do a little bit of research about what'll be available at your university. Something else I don't recommend bringing, a mistake I made, is do not bring all of your hobbies. I like to do a lot of things. I make videos. I like to crochet. I like to paint. I brought all of my stuff for all of these activities that I simply don't have time to do at the moment. You probably won't have enough time to do all this since, as I mentioned earlier, college is quite busy and stressful, and you probably won't have enough space in your dorm room to store it all. On a similar note, I also don't recommend bringing your entire collection of supplies for any one particular hobby. My example is going to be photography and making videos. There's a huge range of equipment you could bring, but I don't really think you should. I did not need to bring my entire camera collection. I took most of it home and left it there after winter break, so I wish that I had initially just brought the bare minimum of what I think I need to accomplish this quarter's projects. Now let's talk about adulting, taking care of your room stuff. One thing to definitely not bring is a massive container of liquid detergent. Something that most people don't seem to realize before getting to college is that laundry rooms are not usually going to be right next door to your dorm room unless you are either incredibly lucky or unlucky, because honestly I feel like being next to the laundry room would be really noisy. So carrying a lot of stuff back and forth is really inconvenient. Instead of such a heavy, bulky item, I'd say go with Tide Pods. On another note, something good to get for college is a special laundry bag that is easy to carry. For example, the one I have has this like tote bag strap that makes it really easy to carry on your shoulder. I've seen other people in my building have ones with little backpack straps that also seem very convenient. Again, ease of carrying is essential for pretty much anything that you're gonna have in dorm living. Here are my two most essential like cleaning room maintenance items. One, a mini vacuum. I use this so often. I use it at least once a week, usually to take care of any spills that might happen and just to generally keep the floor of my room clean. It doesn't take that much space. You can just shove it in the corner of your closet and it's so useful. Another cleaning item I recommend is like a broom or just something with a really long handle. For example, I have a Swiffer sweeper and this item will be generally useful because you can clean your room with it, but also having that long handle is an essential. I've used it a lot to just nudge things out of all the little crevices that result from being in such a small space with immovable furniture. And you can use it to reach into high corners and clean up spider webs around there if that's happening to you. This next one that I think you don't need might be very specific to my school, so take this with a grain of salt, but it does come with like a general lesson. I don't recommend bringing trash bags, because at least at UCLA, if you call housekeeping, they will give you free trash bags. Your mileage may vary. I don't know what the policy is concerning trash bags at like every school, but just keep an eye out, ask your RA or other people who have lived in on-campus housing before, because you can probably get a lot of free stuff from your school. So get your free stuff. Squeeze every last penny out of your tuition and housing costs because you paid a lot for this. But a bag type that I do recommend bringing is reusable shopping bags. These are simply essential, or maybe it's only essential in California and other states that have plastic bag bans, or it costs like 20 cents extra to buy a plastic bag. But even if it's not an absolute necessity in your state, you can lead the charge. You can be the first to start using reusable shopping bags. But not even just for grocery shopping, I use my tote bags all the time to carry my filming equipment or carry my school stuff if I'm studying outside. Something else I recommend, no longer really related to like cleaning, is a mattress topper. Dorm beds are notoriously uncomfortable. Yes, even if you flip it over to the soft side, it's not. So I'd say like a nice 2-inch foam topper does the job quite effectively. Flipping back to things I don't recommend, aspirational clothing. I see a lot of advice videos talking about like, oh, don't bring your entire wardrobe because you won't wear it all. I think your mileage may vary because I brought like every single piece of clothing I own because I wear every single piece of clothing that I own. But if you have a large chunk of your closet as like aspirational, this is cute, I'll wear this once I have my life together clothing, instead, I'd recommend like whatever you wore during the past few weeks of your summer or what you wore during your last winter in high school. That's probably what you're gonna end up wearing in college, so I would bring that and avoid bringing too much of the aspirational clothing. I would recommend bringing a picnic blanket, a hammock, or other like outdoor chillin' activity stuff. It's really convenient to be able to be outdoors with friends in a comfortable and fun manner, and it's pretty much the only safe interaction throughout this entire year. And I'm not sure how things will be in the future, but being outdoors is still fun, regardless of whether or not a global pandemic is happening. Going back indoors, I don't recommend bringing decorations that don't go on a wall. These little knickknacks and decorative things that don't have like a functional purpose might have been really cute in your room at home, but in a very cramped small dorm room, your desk space and dresser space and other like horizontal surface area are incredibly valuable. Like, it's millions per square foot valuable, so don't clutter it up. Instead, I would bring string lights or wall decorations, just stuff you can hang up in order to make your dorm look cuter. And the last thing that I want to recommend to you is something that makes your dorm room smell nice that is allowed in your building. The regulations vary from university to university, but usually something like a wax melter or a wall plug thing will be permitted, but candles are not. Dorm rooms can smell pretty musty. Usually the air conditioning vents are a little old, so making it smell nicer can just really improve the general ambiance. I hope you found this video helpful, and if you have advice or questions on your end, please do leave those in the comments below. I upload new videos about student life and college stuff on this channel every week, and you can visit my Instagram, my TikTok, and my second channel for some other, sometimes school-related content. See you next time!